This is Mrs. Waynard's Math Class, Chapter 11, Lesson 7, Finding the Volume. This is Mrs. Waynard's Math Class, Chapter 11, Lesson 7, Finding the Volume of a Rectangular Prism using volume equals base times height. Today's learning target, we have 2. By the end of the lesson, you should confidently be able to say, I can find the volume of a rectangular prism by finding the area of the base first, and I can find the volume of a rectangular prism when given the base and the height. We will use the following videos to help us learn this lesson. Icon Math, Volume of a Rectangular Prism, Moo Math, Rectangular Prism, and Mashup Math, Volume of a Right Rectangular Prism. Pay attention, you will need to answer questions throughout the video.
I'd like to talk about finding the volume of a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism is a solid, three-dimensional object that has 6 faces that are rectangles. If you unfold a rectangular prism, it will look like this. Notice the 6 rectangles. You can find the volume one of 2 ways. First, you can multiply length times width times height. Or, if you know the area of the base, you can use base times height.
Volume of a rectangular prism using the area of the base. You've learned how to calculate the volume of a rectangular prism using the formula volume equals length times width times height. In this lesson, however, we will learn how to find the volume of a rectangular prism when the area of the base is already provided. Let's look at this rectangular prism. In this rectangular prism, the area of the base is given. Remember, the area of a rectangle is calculated by multiplying the length by the width. So, the base B of this figure is equal to the product of the length and width, which we write as B equals L times W. This means we can remove the L times W part in the formula V equals L times W times H and replace it with B. This gives us V equals B times H. This formula is useful when we want to find the volume of a rectangular prism whose base area is known. Let's now calculate the volume of our rectangular prism using this formula. The area of the base is 12 inches squared, so we substitute 12 for B, and we replace the height, h, with 4. Now our formula reads as V equals 12 times 4. The product of 12 and 4 equals 48. So the volume is 48, but we can't forget to write the units. Height and base area use inches. Since volume describes three-dimensional space, the units are inches cubed, or cubic inches. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 48 inches cubed.
Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 1 right now.
For the next problem, we're going to find the volume of this cuboid given the base area and the height. So we're going to use our formula, V equals capital B times H, where B stands for base area. Let's read the problem. A cuboid with a base area of 60 square inches has a height of 6 inches. What is the volume of the cuboid? So let's set up our volume formula. Volume formula equals capital B, which is base area, and in this problem it says that the base area is 60 inches squared. So we take that 60 and multiply it by the height, which the problem tells us is 6 inches. If I do that, I get 360 cubic inches. So the volume of this cuboid is 360 inches cubed.
Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 2 right now.
This problem, let's go ahead and dive right into it. No pun intended. In this case, we have a fish tank in the shape of a right rectangular prism that is 8 feet deep, and the top of the fish tank has an area of 120 square feet. Now, using this information, our task here is to find what is the volume in cubic feet of the fish tank. Now, there is a whole lot of information here, but there is no diagram. So we should ask ourselves now, how can we model this situation? If we can draw a diagram and take our thoughts and put them onto paper, we can much better understand what's going on here and better find a solution. So remember that our fish tank was in the shape of a right rectangular prism, and we know what that looks like, except it is a fish tank, so let's fill it up with water and add a few fish. And we know that the fish tank is 8 feet deep, so we can go ahead and label that depth on our diagram. Now remember that we wanted to find the volume of this fish tank, and we know that the volume of a right rectangular prism is length times width times height. Now, so far, we only know what h is. We only know that the height of the rectangular prism is 8. We don't know the length, and we don't know the width. But what we do know is that the top of the fish tank has an area of 120 square feet. Now, the top of this fish tank is just a flat rectangle, and we should already know that the area of a rectangle is just length times width. So whatever the length times width is going to equal the area, and we already know that L times W for this particular shape is going to equal 120. So even though we don't know the exact measurements of the length and width of the fish tank, we know that their product is going to be 120. So remember that in the volume formula, we didn't know what L times W equaled. Well, now we do. We know that length times width for this rectangular prism is 120, so I can slide that right into the volume formula. So now I can say that the volume is equal to 120 times 8. And the product of 120 and 8 is 960, the number of cubic feet that makes up the volume of the fish tank. So that one was kind of tricky. You really had to think mathematically to work your way through it. So you may want to go through this question a few more times, but this is the kind of thinking that we have to work on if we want to become stronger and mathematical problem solvers.
Please stop the video and complete worksheet number 3 right now. Hopefully by now you can confidently say, I can find the volume of a rectangular prism by finding the area of the base first. So that would be doing length times width to get the area of the base and multiplying that answer times height. And hopefully by now you can also confidently say, I can find the volume of a rectangular prism when given the base and the height. So if they give you the base, you just need to multiply that by the height. Sometimes they may give you the base, but they call it the area. So if they give you the area of one side, you need to multiply that times the height. We will be doing more practice in class, so if you have any questions or concerns, please see a teacher. We will sit down and help you. Good luck with this lesson.